and welcome to my book nook. For those that are new around here, the name's Rainy. I teach music and I also read all types of books, mainly thriller and horror, but I read fantasy, romance, nonfiction, sci-fi, all the different things. So if you're interested in that, please like and subscribe down below. It'll really help my channel grow. Today's video, I have the special board behind me so you know what time it is. It's the one with my January 2023 TBR. If you don't know about this game, I basically took the Friends from the Friends show trivia game that they did when they were competing for the apartment or getting rid of their chicken, their duck, and I turned it into a game. And I have the rules in the first explanation or in the first video from last year, so I'll link the entire playlist underneath here if you need a refresher. However, I would probably watch March because that's when I really started to get into my stride with rules and whatnot. But basically, I roll a dice 6 times, I pick a prompt, and they're different colors, and they mean different genres and all that, and then I go from there. However, I am mood reading, so I'm picking a couple of options for each thing. And second, I have got to somehow make these fit into my current TBR because January's TBR is already chaotic as hell. So we're going to see. All right, with no further introduction, let's first, we are not going to talk about how December went because December was spent with me trying to just speed read through a bunch of books on my TBR that I didn't want to take with me into the new year. And so we're starting fresh, and we're not going to talk about last year. We're just going to start fresh with right now. So let's start the rolls. Okay, so the first roll was 38, which is a thriller and horror, fears and pet peeves, and it's a blue. So let me pull out all my blue prompts, which that is the lowest amount that I have because I got rid of prompts that basically wouldn't let me mood read because I need to mood read, I've learned. And let's see what I get. All right. Read a book set somewhere you want to visit. I feel like that's not even a little bit helpful. I'll be back. Okay, so I was actually able to make this work for a book that was already going to be on my TBR for January, and that is Wonderland by Jennifer Hillier, which I actually am planning on reading most of her backlist this year, but I'm reading this specifically for Gabby's book troop pick in January. And so this one is, it takes place in Washington State, and I've always wanted to visit Washington, so I'm actually interested in that. But it basically says, welcome to Wonderland. By day, it's a magical place hosting a certain retro charm. It's basically a carnival. But let's see. At night, it's a terrifyingly real house of horrors, or maybe it's the dead, decaying body left in the midway for all the wonder workers to see. Vanessa Castro's first day as Deputy Police Chief of Seaside, Washington is off to a bang. The unidentifiable homeless man riding inside the tiny town's main tourist attraction is strange enough, but now a teenage employee with that same morning is missing. As the clues in those crimes lead her down a mysterious shared path of missing persons that goes back decades, she suspects the seedy rumors surrounding the amusement park's dark history might be true. She moved to Seaside to escape her own scandalous past, but has she brought her family to the center of an insidious killer's twisted games? I love carnival setting type books. I love that a lot. I'm very excited for this thriller. I think it's going to be a fun time, and it's set in Washington, a place I want to visit. So that worked out exceedingly well. On to roll 2. Alright, 24 is a yellow and it's under ancient history, which is romance. Thank God, because I have a bunch of romance I need to read this month. So, hopefully I can make this prompt fit it, or else I'm going to cry. I really am going to cry if I can't make all these prompts work. I'm just going to cry, I'm going to cry, I'm going to cry. Okay. May the odds be ever in my favor. Read from a female author. Oh, Lordy Lord! Thank God. Okay, which book do I want to commit myself to? Let me think about that, and then I will tell you. All right, I picked a spicy romance for this one because I'm actually doing this in a read-along along with a bunch of people, but I think Oh Hey It's McKay on YouTube and Instagram is leading this, and it's the Off Balance series, but I'm only going to put book 1 on this TBR in case I fall through with reading the rest of the series, because they're planning on reading a book a week, and homegirl don't know if she's ready for that, especially because the first book is a 560 pages. But it is on my Kindle, and I read quicker on my Kindle. So this says, it's a gymnastics romance. I know that. It says, Adriana Rossi is no stranger to the rigorous demands required of her body. Olympic glory is the ultimate goal. She'll do anything to achieve it, even if that means leaving home to attend World Cup Academy of Gymnastics, a training center that serves one purpose, producing champions. Perfection, precision, and dedication are required of his athletes. When two-time Olympian Constantine is persuaded into trading the young hopeful, he regrets it. She doesn't come close to his high standards. Kova's power and determination, coupled with Adriana's fierce tenacity, reveal there's more for her body to learn. Every interaction can be misconstrued, but there's no mistaking the darkening of his gaze, the lingering of his touch, or the illicit image of his bare skin pressed against hers. Integrity is on the line. So basically, it's a forbidden romance between the coach and the gymnast. Very excited. I've heard nothing but great stuff about this, and I hope that I can get to it. And it's written by an author, female author, Lucia Franco. On to roll 3. Okay, so the next number was 25, or no, 29. No, 25. I was right. 25. It's All Relative, which is sci-fi fantasy, which is an orange. And so let's grab my orange and see what I can get. I do think I have at least one fantasy on my list for this month. So hopefully, once again, we can make this work. Okay. Read a book with non-human characters. I'll be back. This is very much working out in my favor because this book is also on my TBR for January. And that is Zodiac Academy, The Awakening by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. And this is book 1. I'm doing this in an Instagram buddy read with like 30 other people. And so I'm excited. We're doing one book a month. Thank God. And this is a bully romance, but it is also fantasy. And it has like fae and vampires and mythological creatures. It has very many non-human characters. And it says, let's see. I'm a Gemini, impulsive, curious, headstrong, a twin, heir to a throne I know nothing about, and it turns out I'm fae. But of course there's a catch. All I have to do to claim my birthright is prove I'm the most powerful supernatural in the whole of Solaria. And sure, technically that's true, as I'm the daughter of the Savage King. But the bit they didn't put in the brochure was that every single fae in this kingdom would claim my throne if they could. My biggest problem is the drool-worthy dragon shifter who has his eyes on my throne. He and his 3 psycho friends are determined to make my time here hell. All I've got to do is survive. But fate might have other ideas. Damn it, why couldn't I have gotten a letter to Hogwarts? Me too, sis. Me too. So excited for this. I cannot wait. I've been wanting to read this for the longest time, and I'm so glad that time is finally now. All right, on to roll 4. All right, so 17 is another It's All Relative, which is sci-fi fantasy and pink. And so I'm getting all the different colors today, though, so that is exciting. So let's see what I get. Husband's pick. Husband is asleep, so we're picking a different one because I need to film this right now. Sorry, hubby, because you wouldn't have picked something I needed to read. Choose a mood read. Bless. 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 Okay, so this pick could be controversial because some people will say this is historical fiction. However, when I typed in what the genre is on Google, it said fantasy first and then historical fiction. And so I'm going to go with that. And that is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I know this has been on my TBR before. However, I am reading it this month because it is my buzzword challenge book. Because it has the word life in it. And January's topic is life or death. So I'm finally going to read it. And I definitely have talked about this before. It's about a girl named Adeline who in the 1700s makes a deal with the devil to basically, I think, live forever. But like the caveat to that is that whenever she meets somebody, as soon as they turn away from her, they're going to forget who she is. And so it's like a very lonely, isolating life until like one day, like 200 years down the line or something, someone remembers her. And then it's like, well, why can that person remember her? Like, what's going on here? And so I'm very excited to read this. I did start it and I was liking it. I just didn't continue with it. I was only like 4% in. So my goal is to actually read it all this time. And we'll see where that takes us. All right, roll 5. Okay, so 36 is literature, which is historical fiction and literary fiction. So I'm literally getting every genre, and I'm getting green, which is the only other color that I haven't picked from today. So it's all the colors for rainy day. All right, here we go. Read a recently added TBR read. Recently added. All right, let me dig around and see what that would be. This is not new to like my TBR. I've had it on my shelf for like a year now, but it is new to my TBR reads, to my TBR stack, because it was in my TBR pile, so I'm going to count it. and it calls itself nautical fiction, whatever that means. And that is Migrations by Charlotte McConaughey. We actually are reading this for my local book club this month. I'm very excited. She is the author that also wrote Once There Were Wolves, and I haven't read that either, but I really love the cover. And so this one says it is about Franny Stone has always been a wanderer. By following the ocean's tides and the birds that soar above, she can forget the losses that have haunted her life. But when the wild she loves begins to disappear, Franny can no longer wander without a destination. She arrives in Greenland with one purpose, to find the world's last flock of Arctic terns and track their final migration. She convinces Ennis Malone, captain of the Saguny, to take her on board, winning over his eccentric crew with promises that the birds will lead them to fish. As the Saguny fights its way south, Franny's dark history begins to unspool. Battered by night terrors, accumulating a pile of unsent letters, and obsessed with pursuing the terns at any cost, Franny is full of secrets. When her quest threatens the safety of the entire crew, Franny must ask herself what she's really running towards and running from. That sounds fun. So it sounds like it has a little bit of like a thriller-ish element to it, which sounds awesome. It's only about 250 pages, so I'm sure I can knock this out pretty quickly. And I'm excited to get to this because I have been wanting to read this for quite a while now. All right, on to roll 6. And once again, 29 is It's All Relative, sci-fi fantasy. I guess this is my fantasy era. And it is a yellow. So, let me pull my yellow back up and go for it. All right. Read from a male author. Well, crapper on a stick. I don't even know if I have a male author in my fantasy TBR, and I'm not about to go buy a book. So let me go check and I'll be back. Putting this book under very short pretenses, basically that I know I'm probably not going to read this. So this will be the one book you're not going to end up hearing about because I just know that I have too many books to read this month. But I do want to read it. So maybe. And that is Senlin Ascends by Josiah Bancroft. It is the first book in the books of Babel. And so this one says, The Tower of Babel is the greatest marvel of the Silk Age. Immense as a mountain, the ancient tower holds unnumbered ringdoms, warring and peaceful, stacked one on the other like the layers of a cake. It's a world of geniuses and tyrants, of airships and steam engines, of unusual animals and mysterious machines. While honeymooning in the Tower of Babel, Senlin loses his wife Maria. Thomas Senlin, the mild-mannered headmaster of a small village school, is drawn to the tower by scientific curiosity and the grandiose promises of a guidebook. The luxurious baths of the tower seem an ideal destination for a honeymoon, but soon after arriving, he loses Maria in the crowd. Before he can find Maria, Senlin must first discover himself. His search for Maria carries him through madhouses, ballrooms, and burlesque theaters. He must survive betrayal, assassination, and the long guns of a flying fortress. But if he hopes to find his wife, he'll have to do more than just survive. This quiet man of letters must become a man of action. And I picked this up solely because, who was it? Peruse Project loved it, and when I got it, it came with a bookmark. Can't talk. Anyway, I'm very excited for this. I do know that this is going to be good. I just don't know if I have time to read it this month, but we'll see. All right, on to Friends Lightning Round Trivia. So the drill is, I have 5 questions. I have to get 3 of them right within 30 seconds. And here we go. Okay, which friend did not go to high school? Joey. Which friend was a bell ringer for the Salvation Army? Phoebe. Which of the guys once bought a pair of leather pants? Ross. What was Joey's New Year resolution? Oh dear God, I don't know. What was Phoebe's New Year resolution? I don't know, but I think I already got 3 right, so let's just check before my timer runs out. Let me see what the timer's at. And cancel. Okay. Oh, shoot. That is quite unfortunate. It was not high school Joey. It was Phoebe. And Phoebe was the ringer for the Salvation Army. Ross was the one with leather pants. Joey's New Year resolution was to learn how to play the guitar. Phoebe's New Year's resolution was to pilot a commercial jet. I also think this is very funny that I got this one when it's New Year's Day that I'm filming this one. Interesting. Well, I guess that means I have to do a lightning round one. So let's see what the prompt is. All right, so I rolled a green, which means that is add a roll. Oh, fabulous. Let's go. So 16 is an ancient history, romance, and it is a green. And so let's see what I have got. All right, last one. Read from a favorite author. Okay, hold on. Well, that roll did not work out in my favor because I added another book to my TBR. However, I did just say in my most recent 2022 stats that this author was an all-time favorite author because I've read 2 books by her that were 5 stars. And so I'll just read this one because this is the only other one I have. And that is Beach Read by Emily Henry. Because I read People We Meet on Vacation last year and I gave it a 5. And Book Lovers and I gave it a 5. So it's only natural that this will probably be a 5. If you don't know what this one is about by now, it's about August Everett. He's an author of literary fiction. January Andrews writes best-selling romance. When she pens A Happily Ever After, he kills off his cast. They're polar opposites. The only thing they have in common is for the next 3 months they're living in neighboring beach houses, broke and bogged down with writer's block. Then one hazy evening, one link leads to another, and they strike a deal where he's going to spend the summer writing something happy, and she's going to write the next great American novel. She'll take him on field trips worthy of any rom-com montage, and he'll take her to interview surviving members of a backwoods death cult. Obviously, everyone will finish a book, and no one will fall in love. Really. And so I'm guessing this is their love story. And this is actually my friend Melanie from Melanie Reads, one of her favorite books. In fact, I think it is her favorite book. So I'm actually really excited to get to this. And I'm sure it'll be great. I've been putting it off for a while, so I guess now's the time to read it. So, without the Gymnast Coach book and Wonderland by Jennifer Hillier, this is our stack. Not too shabby. And I only added on 2 books that I wasn't already planning on reading. So I would say that's pretty good in and of itself. Now let's talk to you about books that I'm reading for January also that were not in my TBR game. So one that I'm reading for Reading Riley's Midnight Society book club is Mother Thing by Ainsley Hogarth. I'm actually really excited to read this. This looks really creepy and weird. And it says this one is about when Ralph and Abby Lamb move in with Ralph's mother, Laura. Abby hopes it's what she and her mother-in-law need to connect. After a traumatic childhood, Abby is desperate for a mother figure, especially now that she and Ralph are trying to become parents themselves. Abby has so much love to give, to Ralph, to Laura, and to Mrs. Bondy, her favorite resident at the long-term care home where she works. But Laura isn't interested in bonding with her daughter-in-law. She's venomous and cruel, especially to Abby. When Laura takes her own life, her ghost starts to haunt Abby and Ralph in different ways. Ralph is plunged into depression, and Abby is terrorized by a force intent on destroying everything she loves. To make matters worse, Miss Bondy's daughter is threatening to move her from the care home, leaving Abby alone. With everything on the line, Abby comes up with a chilling plan that will allow her to keep Mrs. Bondy, rescue Ralph from his tortured mind, and break Laura's hold on the family for good. All it requires is a little ingenuity, a lot of determination, and a unique recipe for chicken a la king. That sounds really good. I'm very excited for this. I can't wait. When I saw that this was the book choice for their club, I was very excited, and so I'm ready to get to this. Then for my Besties book club that I host with Brittany from Reading Maneva, Brittany from Brittany Loves Reading, I think that's the name of her channel. I'll link them all underneath here. And then our friend Kelsey, who doesn't actually have a booktube, but we're trying to work it on her. We are reading Catherine House for January by Elizabeth Thomas. And I picked this selection, and I'm scared that I picked this because Brittany finished it and didn't understand what was going on. Neva is currently reading it and doesn't understand what is going on, and that does not bode well. But I heard if you like Bunny, you'll like this, and I loved Bunny, so I figured I would like this. But this one, basically, it's a seductive Gothic-infused debut of literary suspense set within a secluded elite university and following a dangerously curious, rebellious undergraduate who uncovers a shocking secret about an exclusive circle of students and the dark truth behind her school's promise of prestige. And that's all I'm going to say, because even with reading the cover, I don't really understand what is going to go on in this book, and I'm a little scared, and I'm hesitant. But it's happening nonetheless. Then I already talked about book 1 in this because I made it work for a prompt, the Balance series, The Gymnast and the Coach. But I'm planning on reading all 5 of the books in that series, and I believe they are all different, gymnast and coach or gymnastics type, forbidden romances. But I think they all follow different characters, if I'm sure. Okay, well, I just looked at book number 2 and it was still following the same people. So I think it just follows the same coach and girl throughout all of them. And so that is actually pretty interesting. So they're all named things like twist, dismount, release, execution, and balance. And yes, they're all about the same person. So I'm actually really excited to read this. I'm scared though because they are very big chunkers. So I'm not going to fully commit to all of them. but they are on my list for January. Then also for January, I decided to do an Instagram buddy read with a bunch of people again for not Zodiac Academy, but for the From Blood and Ash series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. And I did have this on a TBR for last year. And I actually am like 140 pages into it already, thank goodness. And I remember really enjoying it, so I'm just going to go from where I was. And so that'll actually help me for this January. But if you don't know what this one is about, it's about, let's see, chosen from birth to usher in a new era, Poppy's life has never been her own. The life of the maiden is solitary, never to be touched, never to be looked upon, waiting for the day of her ascension. And then the entire kingdom's future rests on her shoulders, something she's not even quite sure she wants because a maiden has a heart. And when Hawk, a golden-eyed guard, honor-bound to ensure her ascension, enters her life, destiny and duty becomes tangled with desire and need. Forsaken by the gods and feared by mortals, a fallen kingdom is rising once more, determined to take back what they believe is theirs through violence and vengeance. And so basically she's having to like fix this war while also getting what she wants, which is love with like Hawk, her new bodyguard. And I was really enjoying it. It's just a dense read, but we are apparently reading the whole series from like now to July, like the 2 series that like forged together. And so I'm not promising to all of those, but I am promising to book 1 because I do want to see if this series could be for me. So I am reading it in January. And then there are 2 more books that technically are going on this list, but I probably already know that one of them is not going to really happen. Actually, no, there's 3 more books. There's 3. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I actually got asked to do a podcast with my friend Ashley. Hers is the Turgid Tombs podcast. I will link underneath here. She talks about cool, weird, like romancy books. And so she needed new guests, and so I said I would do it, and she asked me to pick a mafia romance. And it was funny because I had just bought a mafia romance before she asked me, and it turns out that that was the one she wanted to read. So it worked out perfectly. And so we are reading Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. This is the first book in the Brutal Birthright series, which I'm very excited also that I got the hot guy covers because these are not available anymore. This one says, Callum Griffin is the heir to the Irish Mafia. He's ruthless, arrogant, and he wants to kill me. We got off on the wrong foot when I set a very small fire in his house. Our families believe a marriage pact is the only thing that will prevent all-out warfare. I think I might need to murder him while he sleeps. This would all be a lot easier if Callum wasn't so damn good looking. But I've got a lockbox around my heart because even if I'm forced to marry him, I could never love a brutal prince. So I'm very excited for this. It's going to be a good time. And the book is all like this, like broken up like very paragraphy-ish. So I think this will be really easy to speed through. Then I actually don't know what Haley is picking for her book club, so there will be another book added to this, but I can't add it right now. But I did just join Riley Marie's Patreon, and they are reading this in January, which makes sense because the new book is coming out, I believe, in February. And that's Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. And I have always wanted to read this. And fun fact, I have 2 copies now, or I have one coming my way, because Book of the Month, has this book. And I wanted the Book of the Month edition before I could buy the sequel. So they match. That's just me. Anyway, this one says, Galaxy Alex Stern is the most unlikely member of Yale's freshman class. Raised in the Los Angeles hinterlands by a hippie mom, he dropped out of school early and into a world of shady drug dealer boyfriends, dead-end jobs, and much worse. By age 20, she's the sole survivor of a horrific, unsolved multiple homicide. Some say she's thrown her life away, but at her bedside, she's offered a second chance to attend one of the world's most prestigious universities on a full ride. What's the catch and why her? Still searching for answers, she arrives in New Haven tasked by her mysterious benefactors with monitoring the activities of Yale's secret societies. Their 8 windowless tombs are the well-known haunts of the rich and powerful, from high-ranking politicos to Wall Street's biggest players. But their occult activities are more sinister and extraordinary than any paranoid imagination might conceive. They tamper with forbidden magic, they raise the dead, and sometimes they prey on the living. So this is actually a dark academia novel, which I did not know. I don't know if I had any idea what this is about. But it's pretty long. As are all the books on my list this month. And then this last one, you are going to laugh at me because it's the longest book ever. And I'm not even saying that I'm planning on reading this. But my 2 friends are buddy reading it, Brittany and Diva. And whenever they buddy read something, like I have to join along because they told me they were all reading A Man Called Ove in the last 2 days of the new year. And I did read that. So I probably know myself and I will read this. And that is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. 800-page chunker right here. It's a sapphic fantasy, though, with dragons. So what more do you need? That's basically all you need to know about this book. But it is a chunker, and I am scared. I am scared. So if we add all those to the list, this is my stack. And I don't have a lot of hope for me in this regard. you might want to send some prayers. But yeah, that is what I'm reading for January. I hope this was fun for you. Let me know which book I should prioritize first, and also a comment down below with your favorite book that you're looking most excited to read in January. I'm hoping some of these will be a hit. And with that, I'll see you guys in next video. Bye!